The story began in San Francisco in 1945. 50 nations gathered to sign the UN Charter, a pact to maintain peace, uphold human rights, and promote cooperation after the devastation of World War II. From the start, the UN was built on two principles: dialogue and collective responsibility. Its 193 member states deliberate in the General Assembly, while the 15-member Security Council is tasked with maintaining international peace and security. Over 8 decades, the UN has witnessed a world transformed from the Cold War to decolonization and from peacekeeping in Africa to global health campaigns. It has served as a platform for negotiation, but also a stage for criticism.
By resigning, I would therefore, at the present difficult and dangerous juncture, throw the organization to the winds. I have no right to do so, because I have a responsibility to all those states members for which the organization is of decisive importance, a responsibility which overrides all other considerations.
Not all leaders have shared that faith. Over the years, frustrations have surfaced about how power is distributed inside the organization.
Now the Security Council is security feudalism, political feudalism for those who have permanent seats.
Critics like late Libyan leader Gaddafi argued that the veto system favors a handful of powerful nations, a debate that continues to this day. In 2025, the challenges are complex and interconnected. The war in Ukraine has paralyzed the Security Council, with Russia, a permanent member, accused of violating the UN Charter it helped draft.
None of this would have happened if Putin had not started this full-scale aggression. And only Russia deserves to be blamed for this.
In Gaza, aid convoys struggle to reach civilians because of the situation. In Sudan, civil war has displaced millions. Each crisis raises the same question: how can the UN act when its most powerful members are divided? Yet, beyond the political deadlock, the UN continues its day-to-day work, quietly saving lives. Peacekeepers operate in more than a dozen missions. UNICEF and the World Food Programme deliver food, vaccines, and education to millions.
One of the great things about the United Nations is that it has this amazing network that it has developed across different countries, within countries, but also across different institutions. And what the UN is able is to really trigger that network and use it in crises, use it in pandemics like COVID.
But the UN is facing a financial crisis. The United States, its largest contributor, is in arrears by nearly $3 billion, prompting budget cuts and peacekeeping reductions. The funding gap has forced the UN to downsize peacekeeping missions in Africa and the Middle East.
I want other countries to put up money. I think it's unfair that we put up the money. Then people called me, they said, oh, let it go, and I let it go. Germany, France, other countries should put up money, and that's been my complaint from the beginning.
A number of countries have not paid their contributions, but what it has meant is that the United Nations, a number of institutions of the United Nations, is unable to perform its work, it's unable to plan, it's unable to be strategically present in discussions.
Meanwhile, calls for reform are growing louder.
A comprehensive reform is needed in the United Nations, especially in the Security Council. In fact, the world is bigger than 5.
Many argue that adding new permanent members such as India, Japan, or Brazil could make the Council more representative of today's world. Beyond geopolitics, the UN faces new challenges, from artificial intelligence and climate change to misinformation and growing distrust in multilateralism. Some member states are increasingly acting outside the system, forming smaller alliances and coalitions of their own. 80 years on, the United Nations remains imperfect but indispensable. It may not end every conflict, but it still offers a space for dialogue in a divided world. And as the next generation faces new wars, new technologies, and new uncertainties, the question is not whether the UN can act, but whether nations still choose to act together.